Today's world is rapidly changing. Imagine a geopolitical scenario in 2050 that is drastically different, with certain countries being stronger than others. Nations may vanish as a result of political shifts and even climatic change. Overpopulation is unavoidable, which means a greater number of people facing starvation, increased demand on food availability, increased number of wars, and dwindling natural resources. So, here are the countries that may rule the world in the next 30 years. Number 10. Russia. After the Soviet Union fell apart, Russia was never the same. Nonetheless, by 2050, it'll be one of the top 10 world powers, but not a superpower as originally predicted. Russia is now experiencing population growth issues. By the middle of the 21st century, it is expected that Russia's population would have shrunk by more than 30 million people. By that time, China will have militarily surpassed Russia, and Russia will no longer be a direct U.S. adversary. Since the United States would no longer be the world's first or second power, Russia will have depleted its vast oil reserves by then. They would keep part of their gas supplies, but Russia's importance would diminish. Russia's military force and oil and gas reserves, which will provide electricity and heat in the winter, are currently vital geopolitical assets. However, by 2050, new kinds of alternative and renewable energy will almost certainly have supplanted oil and fossil fuels. Number 9. Brazil. Brazil is currently Latin America's most powerful country. By the middle of the 21st century, it'll be one of the world's most industrialized and powerful countries. By 2050, the population will have increased significantly from 200 million to 225 million. The majority of the Brazilian population is relatively young, with an average age of 27 years, but not as young as other Latin American countries. This population expansion will serve to enhance and propel the Brazilian economy, leveraging the fact that a large number of the Brazilian population is fairly young, but just not as useful as the other Latin American countries. Brazil was forecast to become a fourth world power by 2050 a few years ago, but according to some sources, economic and political difficulties have plunged the country into a 2-year recession. Number 8. Indonesia. Indonesia is the most surprising country on this list, as it's a country that many people take for granted. It's currently among the world's top 15 most powerful countries, and by 2050, it'll have dethroned many of them to claim 8th place. This transition is a result of various factors, the most important of which being demographics. Indonesia has a population of 250 million people, making it the world's 4th most populous country. Indonesia would drop to 5th place by 2050, but it's predicted to grow by 60 million people. Nigeria, with its enormous population increase, will be the only country to overtake it by then. By 2050, Indonesia will be the dominant force in Oceania, and it'll retain its position as the world's largest Muslim country. Furthermore, Islam will be the world's largest religion by 2050. Indonesia will be a prominent country not just economically but also religiously. Number 7. Germany. Germany will be the sole European country among the top 10 world powers by 2050. That's unbelievable, isn't it? But how and why? Well, because European countries are experiencing slow growth in population, and this tendency is projected to continue due to the already exceptionally low fertility rate. Europe's population is diminishing at the moment. By 2050, Germany's population will have shrunk to less than 70 million, including the 1 million migrants it'll have taken in. Europe will lose its economic and global clout, making it a less powerful continent. Germany is the only country that represents Europe as of now. The large movement of Africans and Muslim immigrants to Europe will expand the European population, implying that Europe and Germany in particular will be substantially more ethnically diverse by then. Number 6. Nigeria. In terms of economics, an African country will exceed a European country for the first time. Nigeria will be Africa's uncontested power, with more than twice its present population of 400 million people, making it the world's 4th most populous country, just behind the United States. Nigeria is presently Africa's largest economy, but by 2050, it'll be one of the top 10 global powers. This will be a genuinely remarkable leap, demonstrating Africa's future as a continent of developing powers. Nigerians are currently 17 years old on average. In comparison, Latin America's average age is 25, while Europe's is 45, indicating that Nigeria will be a powerful force for decades. It's currently the richest country in terms of production, yet the country has greater poverty rates. Nigeria's current poverty rate is 33%, which some organizations have deemed unacceptable for Africa's most powerful country. Number 5. Japan. This Asian country still continues to sustain its position among the world's most powerful nations, although not the same level as when it was a third world power. Their population is dwindling. It'll definitely have an impact on Japan's economy, which will remain to be a highly developed and advanced nation, but would not have the same impact as it does now, due to decades of stagnation and limited economic development. Japan's population will be fewer than 100 million by then, down from its current 125 million. A dreadful figure for a competitive economy like Japan's, given a large section of their working population will be over 65 years of age at this point. Despite this, Japan will continue to have a robust and dynamic economy. They'll at least stay in the top 10 most powerful countries on the planet, as opposed to countries like France, the United Kingdom, and Italy. Number 4. Mexico. Mexico will be Latin America's most powerful country by 2050. Its economy will be one of the world's most dynamic, industrialized, and affluent. It'll have a population of more than 160 million people due to rapid population increase. Mexico is now experiencing the highest population growth in Latin America, with almost 40 million people added to the population. With the influx of migrants from Central America and the Caribbean, Mexico will have the authority to make decisions on global issues, and its voice will be heard around the world. In terms of size and economy, Mexico will be on par with its northern neighbor, the United States, by 2050. While the U.S. economy would be larger, Mexico will no longer be in a disadvantageous position. Mexico has deported more illegal immigrants in the United States in 2015, indicating that when Mexico becomes the primary destination for millions of people from Latin America by 2050, tighter immigration controls would be required. Number 3. India. With a population of 1.7 billion people, India will surpass China as the world's most populous country, accounting for nearly 18% of the global population. By 2050, India will be home to 1 in every 5 people on the planet. India is currently one of the fastest growing countries on the planet. Because of its diversity, the country will become a melting pot of cultures, religions, and ethnicities, making it the world's most multi-ethnic nation. By 2050, India will have surpassed the United States as the world's largest English-speaking country. It already has one of the world's most formidable armies, so considering the importance of its economic and political weight, it's safe to conclude that by 2050, it'll have a force that rivals that of the United States or even China. India has succeeded in becoming China's continental adversary, but by 2050, these two Asian countries will surely have made Asia the world's most significant and strong continent. Number 2. The United States. The world's present and only superpower will no longer be alone. Within the next 50 years, the United States will likely remain a powerful country in all respects, including economically, militarily, and politically, but it will no longer be the sole superpower. By 2050, the US will have a population of 400 million residents, increasing 80 million to its existing population, although not by birth rate but by immigration. More than 110 million Hispanics will live in the United States by 2050, accounting for more than a quarter of the population. Also, there will almost certainly have been an Hispanic or a Latino president by that time. The influence and strength of the US will be challenged by China, which will undoubtedly overtake the US in economic, technological, and military power. As a result, there will be significant friction between China and the United States' close ally, Japan, in the East. Number 1. China. China is currently the world's second largest economy, but only economically. They're now in third place militarily, but this will change by 2050. China will overtake the United States as the world's most powerful economic, military, and political power. They will rule the international economy and have the most powerful army in the world, with capabilities far exceeding those of the United States. China will be the only country in this list to gain strength despite the population loss of an estimated 100 million people between now and 2050 for a variety of reasons. China is recognized as the world's factory, which explains why the country's environmental circumstances are so bad. 1 day of breathing Beijing air is equivalent of 25 cigarettes. China is currently increasing population-wise at a pace of 6%, which is a decrease from the prior rate of 10%. While their growth rate is falling, China is currently transitioning from a manufacturing economy to a service-oriented economy based on domestic demand. With all of these big changes expected by 2050, it's difficult to predict how the globe will look in 2100. With that information, we've reached the end of today's video. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and we can't wait to have you back. Do drop this video a like, subscribe to our channel, and push the bell icon to receive the latest updates from our channel. See you soon!